Hi again then guys, and welcome to, obviously, another speed tune for Forza Horizon 4, this time for a vehicle which is easy to overlook because of its much more obvious counterparts, the 1-to-1, the Agera RS, but the Koenigsegg Agera is not slow by any stretch. It's still extremely quick. It kind of is the slowest of the Koenigsegg's overall, which is really weird to say when it's something as fast as this. Now, as far as the upgrades go, you've got some things which are of course optional, such as changing the rear wing. You've got some pretty interesting options actually for the wing. I've opted, as you can see, for the roof box. You definitely don't have to do that though, it's just a cool feature that I like. It doesn't make that much of a difference to the speed though. Now, as far as the upgrades themselves, for the parts, I'd recommend all-wheel drive because you can get the power down far more efficiently. It's way better off-road, and of course in a game with changing weather, lots of off-road stuff, it really does help out a lot. As far as the rest of the upgrades, you pretty much know the drill. Fit all of your racing parts, race suspension, brakes, tyres, upgrade the power as high as you can, all that kind of good stuff. Now, to say that it's the slower of the Koenigsegg's, that's not really saying much, because it's still a 272 mile per hour car that hits 60 in 1.5 seconds and 100 in 3.1. That's no slouch. It's still one of the quickest cars in the game. Now, as far as the gearbox, I'd recommend a final drive of 2.95, then for the individual gears 2.89, 2, 1.5, 1.19, 0.96 and 0.77. Of course, we do have all-wheel drive, as I said, so you don't really need much, if any, camber or tow. I've gone for 4 degrees of caster, as I often do. Anti-roll on 35 and 25. For the springs, we've got 115, 155, the lowest ride height on the front and the back. For the dampers, 11, 14, 5 and 6. Aero, of course, doesn't apply, and as far as the diff, I've opted for 100% on acceleration and 0 for the decel. You could put 100 on both and see if you think that works well for you. It can certainly improve it for some people, and I've opted for a 70% rear bias. So, of course, you can still drift it very easily. It's still a relatively slippery car compared to some others, but it's under a lot more control than it would usually be with 1400 horsepower on tap. Now, this tune in X999 is on my storefront, so you can use the keywords down in the description or use my gamer tag to find it. But of course, what you want to see is, can it actually hit those numbers, the top speed in particular, in a race? Well, the simple answer is yes. Of course, it's overwhelmingly fast, and to say it's the slowest Koenigsegg is kind of like saying that something is the slowest Formula 1 car on the grid. It's still a Formula 1 car, and it could still wipe the floor with most other vehicles around a track. Likewise with this one, it can even go beyond the benchmark. 272 would already be as quick as a Veyron Supersport. It can actually do 273 pretty comfortably, and it gets there very fast, very quickly as well, which is a big advantage, because a lot of other cars that can go similar speeds, even like normal cars that you tune up, because those can often do in the high 260 region, they typically don't get there as quickly. Now, the handling is heavier than some, but it's still very easy to use at high speed. So if you do decide to use this car and use my tune either here from YouTube or from my storefront, I hope you have a ton of fun with it, and it's definitely a car that's worth using. It's a lot better than you would think in comparison to the newer, bigger, badder Koenigsegg's that are in the game. So overall, that's it for this build, and of course I'll see you next time, but for now, as always, thanks for watching.